Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view, from the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado.
Yeah, welcome to our new time slot. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to 3 Conservative Gimps. I don't know what happened. I need to change that. That's the old intro that I had when it was called Art's Place. Now it's 3 Conservative Gimps, and right now it's 2 Conservative Gimps. We're waiting for Mike to come in and be part of the show. So we've got a great show today, a lot to cover. So I hope you guys like the new time slot. I think this will work a lot better. And we're only 5 subs away from 200. So let's get this up over 200 and let's get this show on the road. So let's welcome my co-host all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma, the ever quiet Lloyd Mendenhall. Welcome, Lloyd.
Hey. How you doing, Art?
I'm doing all right. Just taking it easy. Went out last night to see some friends play in the band, and then I had to get up early this morning to go do some flying.
Some flying, yeah.
Let's say hello to the folks in the chat. We've got Dominic all the way from Australia. We got Mickey McH. We got Steve Carpenter of SC Aerials and Chris Wedgeworth and Mr. B Outdoor Misadventures. So, So how are you doing, Lloyd?
I'm doing all right. I could use a nap about now, but you know,
don't we all?
Well, it was like I had troubles getting. I fought sleep all night last night. I was tired, but I couldn't go to sleep. I've had a new ache or a new pain or whatever that was keeping me awake in my. I had this shoulder operated on, but now I've got this sharp. Depending on how I move my, feels like a hot searing needle going right through the shoulder blade.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, and boy, when it hits hard. So anyway, so I was trying to get comfortable last night, and it's like Judy'd fallen the night before, and I jumped out of bed to go over and try and catch her, and I think I pulled my shoulder a little bit when I did that. So you know, it's one of those things, and so it was like 4:30 this morning. I was still tossing and turning. I finally went to sleep, and then Judy wakes up at 8:30. It's like, or 7:30. So I got about 3 hours sleep, and then she's kept me awake a good part of the day, and then she fell asleep, and then I finally fell asleep for a little bit. And set my alarm so I'd be up ready to go for this show at 2:00, and then I remembered come in here and set everything up. Then I remembered, oh yeah, we're not doing it till 6. So I need
so the big topic of the week is our El Presidente has decided to forgive some student debt.
Yeah.
So then it turns out that that's going to add $321 billion to the deficit.
I heard this afternoon that it could cost upwards of $1 trillion.
Oh boy!
Before it's all said and done, yeah. And of course, you know, he's using the auspice of the pandemic under the Pandemic Emergency Acts that they've given him. He's using that, you know, and he's only going to be forgiven $10,000 of it. So
right,
up to 10,000. So
up to
yeah, $1 trillion is what I heard this afternoon. So
yeah. Oh, what about that Inflation Reduction Act? So it's pretty much going to erase all the savings that they claimed they were going to.
They claimed, which they've already said wasn't going to, you know, do anything. Was barely going to do anything if it moved the needle at all. And now of course they're saying he doesn't have the authority to forgive that money.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's it's coming up into September here. This at the end of this
Yep.
week will be the first
Yep.
September, and where existed years before. Yeah, I agree. I mean, but he's using the pandemic as but the pandemic is, you know, yes, we still have COVID. It's still part of it, but so is our yearly flu. It's just so is
Yep.
the average cold. It's just now it's and people die from colds, people die from pneumonia, people die from the flu, people
Yep.
die from COVID. You know,
Yep.
and but it's not a pandemic anymore. I mean, it's pretty much proven. It's pretty much ran its course as far as being a pandemic. But yes, it's a problem, but it's not a pandemic anymore. So the authority he's using, he's not authorized to use it for that. And this is just like I said, he's coming into September. This is his, the early bird special of the October surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Same as the Mar-Largo.
Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, whatever it
Invest.
is. The president's home.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
And I guess they released the affidavit, and it turns out that Biden knew about the raid.
well, yeah. I mean, they even I saw a reporter ask him, whatever her name is, his press secretary.
Yeah, we call
You
her
know,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
yeah. Well, anyways, that that knucklehead, she couldn't answer his question. He didn't know. It's sort of like, what is the meaning of is? Depending on what the
Yeah.
meaning of is. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they talk circles, and I mean that's where the global warming's coming from. All the hot air coming out of Washington right now.
Yeah, that's
That's why we've had 100-degree temperatures this summer, because they're just heating it up with all their noxious
yeah.
gas, like the
Mm-hmm.
windbags up there.
So
But
evidently, there wasn't anything there about nuclear secrets. I mean,
yeah,
all the stuff that
well,
they
all
were just
the
throwing out everything. Just see. All right, let's see
yeah.
if that'll stick. Nope, that didn't
I,
work. Let's see if that'll stick.
Well,
No.
and they were feeding this information to the press so that the press could divert from the fact that a good portion of the nation was kind of pissed off the way they did that,
Yep.
to begin with, and but now I did see that there is a judge that looks like he's going to grant Trump's petition to have a independent master overseeing all the files, a third party.
Right.
So, hopefully that's going to settle down. And, plus they redacted so much. I saw Eric Trump on Truth Social last night put up a meme that says, "You forgot a page,"
Yeah.
and it was, of course, blacked out too, like
Yeah.
they, but yeah, it was, this whole, this, whoever's in charge up there, because obviously it's not Joe Biden, but whoever's in charge up there, I I heard today that they're closing the loop around Trump, and every time they see him, they've said that what now for
For the last 2 years.
last 2 years. Hell, they've been saying it for the last 6 years.
That's true.
Ever since he got elected, they've been saying,
Mhm.
"Well, we're going to get him," and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
He is truly the Teflon Don.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And but it's it and that's why that's why they did this debt forgiveness, because they got to bring all them young people back in.
Mm-hmm. Bill, Uncle Bill's Toys,
Uncle Bill.
welcome to the show. And
Yeah.
I saw another new person. Who was that?
Oh yeah, I just
SK Lifty. Yeah.
yeah.
So we got some new people from this show. We kind of settled down to 9 watchers, We were up
well,
to 13, which that's pretty darn good.
yeah. I did
So,
post it on I did post it on True Social, by the way.
oh, cool.
Yeah, I just
And,
copied it
yeah,
over
and
and
I
put it
put
up
it
under
on
my
Twitter as well.
Twitter. Yeah, I put
Bill,
it on
if you
Twitter
would
and Facebook.
like, I gave you a link, and you could join us, and you could be the third Gimp. We could just say, well, he's Irish.
He's an honorary Gimp. Yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, it's this. All this is to detract from. They had to. He had to do something. He wasn't going to do it. He'd been saying he wasn't going to do it. Didn't have the authority to do it, and then all of a sudden now he's going to do it. He has the authority to do it, and he did this because he was trying to get away from the FBI raid. He was trying
Yeah.
to divert.
Mhm.
Everything that this president does, he's being pointed in that direction to do because they're trying to take away from whatever the last screw up was. And if
Yep.
you start following, everything he's doing is just being, like a little wind up toy put out there, and or like my ventriloquist dummies. Somebody just pulling the trigger,
Yep.
making his mouth move for whatever the last uh, screw up they did. And
So now the president is calling us semi-fascists.
oh, is he? I hadn't heard that one. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
all the people that support Trump are semi-fascist. Oh, that's going to really go well. That's going to help you
yeah.
sway
I,
those swing voters.
and I'm slightly confused, but uh, wasn't he supposed to be the great uniter?
Yeah, I mean, he
I
said that
guess
at
he.
his inauguration.
Yes, I
Yeah.
guess maybe he didn't get the memo that he's not uniting but dividing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Of course, he even said in a press conference the other day he wasn't allowed to take questions, but he did. He was going to get in trouble for it. Like, huh? It's just like I said. I don't know who's really in charge of our country.
Yeah.
I've heard, and I honestly think that that's who's really in charge is the bureaucracy. It's
Yeah.
become a self-aware entity. You know, I mentioned this to to the head of our dental practice at one time. I said, the VA hospitals, what they need to do is shut the VA hospital healthcare system down. Only keep them open for research with veterans, veterans disability problems. Like research why so many veterans have got cancer because they've been exposed to the fire pits or whatever.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
but put the rest of us on an insurance equal, similar to what the spouses have, which is called Champ VA.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that's a great idea. She says, but it has become such a large, entity that has become self-aware, and there's no shutting it down. And
Mm-hmm.
this is what's happened to all these bureaucrats, these lifelong bureaucrats that are not elected. They're the ones that are really running the country. It's like I heard today they're talking about, there's still question of, even though the Supreme Court has said twice the president has the authorization to declassify anything, they don't
Mm-hmm.
know if he has it to just, rubber stamp say it's declassified, or if he has to go through certain authorities. Who's in charge of that? Is one of the bureaucrats in charge of it? Is a certain, you know, uh, because nobody's answered that as of late,
Right.
other than the fact that he has the authority. He is the final authority, and like you said, they're talking about those nuclear secrets that he was supposedly had there, and, there was a Democrat president here, I don't know, several presidents back that actually lost the nuclear football.
No, was that Jimmy
Yeah.
Carter?
No, Bill Clinton.
Oh.
He actually lost the code. He actually lost the thing to authorize. Yeah, no, he lost it. It was lost for
Oh,
like
wow.
24 hours. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. You know, uh,
Oh
it
boy,
was.
that's
That's bad. And of course, they're. I think they said that the nuclear defense information or something like that, NDI, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Steve remembers that. Yeah, yeah,
Yep. And
but you don't hear much about that.
yeah, that's right. And also, they made it really simple for Biden. The nuclear code now is 00005, and it matches his social security number because everybody knows, everybody remembers their social security number.
Right, right. Yeah, and he's been also he's been one of the earliest recipients of a number. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, out of Delaware, or is it
yeah.
Scranton, Pennsylvania?
I have no clue, and to be honest with you, he probably doesn't either.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And like so many politicians, they tell a lie long enough, they start believing it themselves.
Yep.
I think that's what his real problem is he's lied about so many things and he's plagiarized so much stuff that
Mm-hmm.
that he just actually doesn't remember whether it really happened that way or not. It's password, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lone Star UAV, there's Kai there. Glad to
Oh,
see
hey,
back.
Kai, good to see you. Yep.
Yeah, you see now I can't remember his president. And this is the problem. We really do. We have a guy that's in charge. Well, he's not in charge. That's the whole thing. I
Mm-hmm.
sort of reminds me, because I told you before the show, I've been watching the Crown, and it's like Winston Churchill. He had a stroke, and for about 2 weeks, nobody knew that he was incapacitated. Everybody was covering for him.
Uh-huh.
And until the Queen found out, she got a little ticked off
Oh.
about it. Yeah, she found out about it. He was better, but it's just like, this is what the problem is. There's always somebody going to be standing around this, and I suspect that between uh, Mr. Hussein Obama and Dr. Jill, they've got it all taken care of.
Yeah, well, she's a doctor.
Oh yeah, yeah. I understand. Whoopi wants to have her do her, I don't know, her gynecological exams or something. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, Whoopi said she'd go to her. She's a really good doctor. She'd cure her of anything. I was like,
Yeah.
that's
Mm-hmm.
really embarrassing. Somebody that doesn't understand the difference.
Yeah,
But what do we know?
they're doing a great job because Biden's had COVID like, what, 1,000,000 times now?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
we
was
got
reading
Steve Epstein.
Steve Epstein. I was
Good to
reading
see
what.
you.
Yeah.
There's that famous picture I keep telling you about.
Yep. That's it
Comedy
right
with
there.
the porpoise. Yep.
Comedy with a porpoise. Yeah. Glad to see he's back here tonight. Yeah, it's it. I just scratch my head every day. I hear something new on the news, and I'm thinking, how did we get here? How did this really happen? And it comes down
It's
to
our
the fact,
fault, Lloyd.
it is our fault.
Yep.
We
It's
we
us
we as a people,
boomers. We let it slide by. We
Well,
took the eye off the ball and let the
Well, that's
hippies take
because
over everything. And
what do you mean let the hippies take over? Hell, most of us were hippies. At least in our generation. Because even the ones that served in the military got out. And a lot of those in the military ended up becoming hippies. Because they were so disillusioned with the war.
hmm
But that's yeah. I mean, and that's what it comes down to. It is our generation. I think is we started out with the war protest and Black Lives Matter. Oh man, Spencer's. I mean, that used to be a great place to go see. They had the best black light posters and black lights.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
That was a cool. If you're going to the mall, that was the one place you wanted to
Yep.
hit. Spencer's.
They had cheap jewelry, which
cheap jewelry.
really
Yeah.
good for Christmas.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. They were a lot. They were always. There's no fun stores like that anymore.
Yep. Well, the malls, they all died. Now
Well,
they're,
the malls died. Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
But I guess the
so,
99-cent
oh,
store or
we
the
just had
$1.25 store now.
another primary this week. And it looks like
Bye, Kai. You take care.
Oswald Cobblepot won his primary up in New York.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that would be Jerry Nadler, because he
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
like the Penguin from
Yes, he does.
the
Yeah.
Batman movie.
Yeah. He does. He does. Yeah.
And yeah, so he won his primary, and I guess a few Trump candidates didn't win their primary. So Red Eagle Politics, he's crying about that, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's not all bad. I mean, I
No,
think
but
there's still going to be a red wave. How
I think
big
so.
it's going to be, who knows?
Yeah. I think I'm thinking it may not be as large. It depends. I mean, it really depends on what happens over the next 6 weeks. I think really.
Right.
The thing that comes out about the because there was a little shift in the polls when the raid first happened. There was a boost for Trump, but it seemed like the congressional candidates took a little hit. So there's a little bit of a people are hedging their bets. Well, okay, Trump would be great for president, but he's not running right now.
Yep.
So we're up in arms that they're trying to keep him from running. So he's got a real boost in the polls. But on the other hand, do we really want somebody who supports, somebody who steals nuclear secrets and takes them home and puts them in his wife's underwear drawer?
Right.
Yeah. And that's unfortunately the way the average American person tends to think.
Yep.
They can say they support Trump right now because, shoot, he's not even announced that he's running yet. So yay.
Yep.
But who do we want? We were lucky that we had a runoff too, and
yes, that's
Mark
right.
Wayne Mullen won his runoff election, so he's shooting for Jim Inhofe's seat as upcoming. He'll be running for senator because Inhofe's stepping down after the election.
After what, 70 years in the Senate?
No, he hadn't been in there that long. He was a congressman before he was a senator.
Oh,
He was actually Jim Inhofe was the mayor of Tulsa first, and he served the mayor of Tulsa, and then he went on to become a
state rep.
Congressman. Yeah, state rep. I don't know if he went state rep or if he went straight from Tulsa right into the U.S. Congress, U.S. House. But he served the U.S. House, and then he went on to serving it after. Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah, those codes. I mean, and those codes wouldn't have been on any piece of paper that the president would have taken out of his.
Well, aren't they on a card that you have to kind of like break it?
Well, there's all sorts of different things, but yes, it's all highly encrypted. It's not going to be on a piece of paper that you could find a copy of it faxed on. You hack into a server and you can find. Oh, this is where this was printed off from that printer that was online. Yeah, no, that's not. It's highly encrypted, and then it is randomly changed. And it was changed the moment Biden was sworn in. As soon as that 12 o'clock hour came up, that's when they changed it. It was ready to go. I mean, had there been a nuclear attack come off at 12:01. Biden would have been the president, according to the Constitution, and they would have run up, grabbed him, handed him his code, and said, "Go launch the nukes back at Russia, or China."
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of
He
China,
probably just said, "Now wait a minute. How we know it was the Russians? How we know it's Chinese? We gotta
yeah,
have
we
a
got to
committee
let's
assignment."
have a committee. Yeah,
Yep.
it used to be the break cards. Yeah. Uh, and speaking of China, U.S. Coast Guard cutters got denied access to the port at Guadalcanal.
Oh,
Yes, they're
Guadalcanal.
yeah, in the Solomon Islands.
Yep. Yep.
Yep, because
Wow, that's
that island has made an agreement with China, and because of the rising tensions with China, China's influence has become greater in the Solomon Islands and in the South Pacific. And it's like, once the Solomon
well, it's
Islands,
not only in the South Pacific, it's in South America, Central
oh
America,
well,
and
yeah,
Africa.
but yeah, in Africa, right, exactly. But their main influence right now is putting it so close to Australia, and Australia is really concerned about it. But they
Hmm.
ended up going to Papua New Guinea, but and making port. But no, they were denied. They were denied because they'd done
Hmm.
some maneuvers out there, and it was basically, I think they were just checking the fishing waters in that area, and they needed to stop to refuel. And Guadalcanal said, "Yeah, Solomon
Hmm.
Islands are near you, Dominic. Okay, so yeah, so
Yep.
China's influence has already spread to the Solomon Islands, which is really
Yeah,
sad
that's
because
right. The Solomon Islands are just north of Australia. They're east of Papua New Guinea.
yeah,
Because right now I'm watching World War II on Time Ghost History,
there you
and
go.
so Guadalcanal just the battle there has just finished a couple months ago, and now they're island hopping along,
Yeah,
and
my uncle was actually there at Guadalcanal,
uh, and
and
they
as a
just
Marine.
bypassed Rabaul, and they're on New Georgia Island. And
Hmm.
yeah, so and there's a lot of dispute between MacArthur and Admiral King over the strategy uh, because MacArthur he wants to go back to the Philippines, and I think
Yeah,
the compromise is okay. We'll do the island hopping along New Guinea, and then go to the Philippines. While we're doing that, we're going to take care of South Pacific, like
right.
the Caroline Islands and the Marshall
Yeah,
Islands,
yeah,
because then that gets us closer to Japan if we take
right.
Guam and Tinian and Saipan.
Yeah, yeah. But like I said, that's been a first that they denied
Yeah,
a U.S. Coast Guard cutter port of access. Just they were just pulling in to refuel, but they didn't.
right.
The government of Guadalcanal, that whoever's in the port master, whoever it was, doesn't want to because they just signed an agreement with the Chinese. So I think and you talk about Chinese influence. Shoot, we got it here in the United States. I mean, there's a lot of farms and property that are owned by Chinese investors.
Right. Hmm.
The only good thing that may happen is those will probably go into forfeiture eventually because the Chinese banks are on the
Yeah,
verge.
they're
Their biggest.
failing. Yep. Their
They're
real
on.
estate
Yeah,
companies are
are
going
failing.
toes up. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, which is good because there was a lot of Chinese companies buying up property outside of Tulsa and in the Tulsa area. So,
Hmm.
uh,
Yep.
you know,
Well, hey, you gotta have more
we
faux
blame this on
restaurants
Nixon.
and Panda Express too.
Yeah, that's true. We just got us a Panda Express here in Muskogee. We're right, real uptown.
Yep.
We got us a what's that chicken place everybody likes to go to?
Faux
No, that
PHO. You got
no
them
no no
all
no
over Denver. There's Faux
No,
76, faux 13.
it's that big. It's that big chicken chain. You know this. What
Oh,
is it called?
you mean Church's chicken?
No. It's not. They do chicken sandwiches and chicken this and they're a
Oh,
big Christian organization.
Popeyes?
No.
Oh,
It's not
Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A. That's it. Yeah, Chick-fil-A. We got us a Chick-fil-A and
Yeah, and
a
they're closed
Panda
on
Express here.
Sundays.
Yeah, they're closed on Sundays.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank God. Panda Express is open. But,
Yep, Panda.
we just
I
got.
think I've eaten at Panda Express once.
I've ate there once.
Hey, let's welcome, all the way from Port St. Lucie, let's welcome the effervescent Bill Ronayne.
Hey
welcome,
guys.
welcome, Bill.
Hey,
Hi.
Bill, how you doing?
How you doing?
We got you fired up now.
Ah.
So let loose with both barrels.
Oh no. I just agree with everything you say, and I just appreciate the fact that I live in the great free state of Florida, where the governor has been blocking attempts by Chinese companies to buy up our real estate down here.
Yeah, I wished ours had done more of that. I mean, we're obviously a very conservative state, but I wished our governor had done more to block those outside sales. I'm glad, but because that's not good to have them. But like I said, the good thing is most of those are going to go into forfeiture anyways because
Don't worry about those Chinese banks; they'll be okay. Our King Biden, our President Biden, is in the process of getting rid of the the tariffs and the way the things that President Trump did to make it more difficult for China to do business in the world. So they'll be okay.
Oh, they'll be okay.
He said Joe Biden to the rescue. It's got nothing to do with the son's dealings or the or the companies that he receives 10% of doing business in China. It got nothing to do with that. I'm sure that's just all coincidental.
Yeah. It's those far right semi-fascists that's spreading all that bad news. It's all their fault.
Yeah. No, and we're semi-fascist because we're the ones that are limiting access to our First Amendment rights, or Second Amendment rights, Fourth Amendment rights. That's us. No, it's not.
Yeah,
I believe that's the other party.
Yeah. I think it is.
The other party who's redistributing the wealth, from the poor to those who are, to make up to $125,000 a year. They need, our money, to pay off their loans.
Right. Yeah.
I understand that, because they're better than we are, and they deserve our money. I mean, ask that bartender, what's her name, AOC.
Yeah.
Socialism is here.
Socialism. She's getting her loans paid off.
Socialism here, and we need to, and she's a true example of what we're talking about, because she shows up in a $50,000 gown, and then has somebody write, what did she have right? She showed up at a gala in New York, and with what was it? The pay your fair share or something, I don't know, written all over her dress. Some political message. All
right.
Meanwhile, she's at an event that's full of nothing but millionaires and billionaires. So that's the mindset, is that they're better than us. Anybody who furthers their education is better than the rest of us, because they just are, because they're. How can we possibly argue with them? They're so much more intelligent than we are. They're getting degrees, in wokeism and whatever other ridiculous degrees they want to get in. So we should pay for that, for the betterment of mankind.
Yeah. It's just like, all teachers now have to go to teachers' colleges in order to be able to teach here in the States. Doesn't matter if they have a degree from Oxford. They can't teach here in the States without going through, reawakening or something at a teacher's college.
Indoctrination. It's an indoctrination process. You gotta.
That's it. Indoctrination.
Yeah.
It's
very, very discouraging, and it's very scary. I mean, it's you throw around words like Nazi or social or fascist, or they've been throwing them at the Republican and the conservative, not so much Republican as conservative side for years.
Conservatives, yeah.
The conservatives' platform is the opposite of that. It's not the government is control of everything and decides, like Obama tried to do a few years back, how big a home you can have. I mean, he tried to pass, legislation on that. And so in other words, if you had a home that was too big for, say, two people, like me and my wife, that we should be sharing it, I guess, with the neighbors down the street, then they were going to pass tariffs, on us and make us pay more, to make up with the, the fact that we're using a bigger carbon footprint than we necessarily should have.
And there's the carbon tax, that they've enacted over in England. If they're, and even new appliances have to meet certain criteria. Otherwise, you have to pay extra to have a older refrigerator over there. It's like,
socialism is the base or the basis and the beginning of communism.
Yes.
And you know who said that? Stalin, by the way.
Stalin.
So, he's a pretty big expert on that subject, I would think.
I think he knew a few things about that. Yeah.
It's very disturbing. Yep. I mean, hopefully we continue, past November, but I don't know. The Democrats are looking like they're going to do better than I initially hoped. And
that's the thing. They use the they use the abortion thing to ramp up their their base. They use,
and when they realize that they have better control over abortion by having it closer to them in the states anyway. I mean, nobody made abortions. The president, I'm not president. I'm sorry, they didn't make abortions illegal. I mean, that's the lie that the press is helping promulgate across is that somehow the Supreme Court made abortions illegal. No, they didn't. No, they just took it out of the hands of centralized government, which is what conservatives want. They want more, the representative of me, not maybe California or even
Colorado,
or even other conservative states. I mean, what affects us here affects us here, and our vote is worth that much more in our local, government. Mm-hmm. You got Steve, who should actually, if I lived in California, I think they should split that state in half, and let all of them live in Southern California, and the rest of them can live in Northern California. I don't know. Pick the better climate, Steve. That's where you go. Probably Southern California.
And because you're right. And the socialism. I mean, this has been. I think this has been part of their game plan since McCarthy. Since the McCarthy era, they've been mad about getting rid of, I mean, McCarthy used communism as a, to try and, like Lucille Ball, her grandfather had been a socialist, so she checked or a communist, and she checked the little box, and they tried to do that to get her off the air. Somebody tried to get her off the air because she was a woman with power, but she did not.
Anybody? Does somebody have YouTube open? Because I'm hearing some echo. There's some bleed through. Yeah.
There.
How about that? Better.
There you go. Can you hear us? Can you hear
us,
I can hear you. Oh, okay.
Good. Okay, good.
Yeah.
There we go.
That was what it was. Yeah.
Yep.
What? What was what it was?
Bleed. Whatever you turn down, that's what the bleed through.
I had your volume up too high.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Didn't want to miss a word.
Didn't want to miss a word. Yeah. Well, this is typical of our shows. We go all sorts of different directions.
Yeah, we have a squirrel moment all the time.
Squirrel moments usually start about 30 seconds after the show starts.
They had Fox interviewed this guy who's one of I can't remember who it was, but he's an advisor to the White House, explaining why we were called semi-fascists, and we've supposedly we're Trumpies, I guess us, supposedly attack somehow. This is what came out of his mouth. American families, We did. We're somehow attacking, women's reproductive rights. We're somehow attacking the police. He actually, I mean, just the gall of these people who half of them, I mean, how many of the platformed defund the police, and we're attacking the police, but no, but you know what that references to? Criticizing the FBI. That's what that references to, because you're not allowed to question the people in power. There's nothing more American. There's nothing that says United States and what we're founded on is questioning authority.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about civil unrest necessarily, unless it comes to that, but I'm not talking about that. We're talking about actually questioning, not blind faith in the government to do the right thing at all times. That's why we have voting rights. That's why we have voices. That's why we have freedom of speech. That's why we have, it's freedom to assemble. Freedom. The Fourth Amendment to protect people from bursting through our doors and with surprise visits and taking everything out of the house that had nothing to do with the warrant to begin with. I mean, they're the jackboot wearing Nazis, and now they're flipping the script and saying, let's be because they're protecting us from us. Half the country is a bunch of fascists. I mean, it's like, they're just proving they don't even know what the word fascist means.
Yeah. They truly don't understand. I mean, that's a generation that has been taught wokeism since kindergarten, and it's getting worse. It's
just a word. It's just an insulting word.
It's like doo-doo head.
Yeah.
It's an epithet.
Exactly like that. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Doo-doo head. Mussolini was a big doo-doo head ever.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they don't have, you hear some of these young people talk, well, my great-great-grandfather served in World War II. I'm thinking, my grandfather was in World War I. I've got, my grandfather on my dad's side was born in 1876. So my family history, just hearing him talk, hearing the man tell me stories, covers, all of the 20th century and a quarter of the 19th century, and I've passed some of these stories down to my grandkids. So we're talking huge, 100 close to 150 years now that that I'm in the middle of that 150-year gap, teaching these kids, and it's like they don't hear any of this in school, and because they don't teach that. I mean, we were, we had to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic, and now it's, I don't know what they teach now. I know, pole dancing. That's right. That's one of the new things they're teaching to kindergarten kids is pole dancing.
Oh, okay.
Drag queen pole dancing.
Polish people have a lot of great, traditional
dances. Do have a lot of great dances. Yeah. Yes, they do.
Traditional dances. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the same.
And their music is good too.
Yeah.
Roll out the barrel.
Barrel. Yep.
There's a place in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, we pronounce it Prague. It's Prague, Oklahoma. And every year they have a Kolashi festival up there, and it's it's actually named after Prague. As a matter of fact, that's where the Infant of Prague Cathedral in the United States. That's where it's at, is in Prague, Oklahoma, and it's one of the national cathedrals for for that. Well, it's the national cathedral for the Infant of Prague, and
they make a really good Italian sauce too.
Yeah.
Prego?
But we used to Prego. Yeah, no, I think that's when the girl gets. That's a different use. Prego is a different use of sausage. Yeah. But anyways.
Well, that also describes my girlfriend sometimes when she's a little late. Prego.
Yeah, Prego. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. A different use of sausage. But.
Boy, welcome to the fun portion of the show.
It show's going downhill fast. But, we used to go up there to the Kolashi Festival, and, man, they had some good dances. Those Bohemians know how to dance. I can say that. And
Well, anyway,
but the type of pole dancing they're teaching in school now isn't the same kind.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And I guess, they did that whole thing that they made a national thing over the "Don't Say Gay" bill here in Florida. First of all, it doesn't say that anywhere in a thing. I knew people. No. I know people that they weren't even liberal. They just weren't in touch. They actually thought that was the name of the bill. They actually thought it was the name of the bill. I say, like you said, no, and it's got nothing to do with it. Nobody says anything. It has nothing to do. It has to do with teachers teaching classroom, proper, schooling, not how, not it's not their job to teach people how to be people. That's the parents' job.
That's parents' job. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that's the problem with the teachers' union. They've taken away all the power from the parents. They've been doing it.
Since when is it illegal for an adult who is not related to a child to talk to them about sex? Since when did that become legal?
Yeah.
I walked up to somebody's kid and started explaining to them, the difference between we and them and he and they and about transgender and gays and homosexuality and different types of sexuality, and I'd be arrested.
Yeah. Especially, you'd be a pedophile for sure if they found out you were a conservative talking to them about that.
No, not that I think these kids need to see psychiatrists, but there are people who are paid and go to school for years, and if you want to talk about education, you want to talk their side of it, there are people who are experts in the matter. I'm sorry, but a person who's got the education of a third grade teacher is not an expert on children's psychological behavior and how they should be treated. There was one idiot that was on TV saying, I have 36 children in my classroom, and I'd say 34 of them are transgender. She actually said that. I said, how old are they? They're like 7. Well, yeah, you know what? Girls have cooties at 7 years old. Of course they're not sexualized yet. They're not supposed to be. It's just it's so disgusting. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I went in for the eye exam for my left eye. They had to do they had to check my right eye and they had to put drops in it to make sure the surgery was okay. And I went to lean into the machine so they could, check my eyes. And she says, "Oh, wait a minute." And they had to wipe it down with the swab and all that stuff. I said, "Oh yeah, we don't want to get cooties, do we?" And she just cracked up laughing. She says, "God, I haven't heard that since I was a little kid," and she was quite a bit younger. I said, "I'm surprised you knew what cooties were," But yeah, kids had cooties when, girls had cooties when I was in the first grade, And
I was a little advanced. I had a girlfriend as early as I had a crush on a girl in kindergarten.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
But I also had a thing for feet, so I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Just to be clear,
for different folks. Okay, all right, good.
Just to be clear, on Maury Povich, Uncle Bill.
If you had a thing for feet, does that mean you're a pedophile or something? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
A thing for feet?
A what? Don't call me pedophile, you.
Oh, pedicures. I always get those mixed up.
Okay.
Pedophile.
It's just pedophile. There you go.
I still remember embarrassing myself. I see your feet when I was 5 years old.
Well, I don't know. Hey, be able to see somebody's ankles. When my mother was a girl, if you saw her ankles, you were, that was going somewhere. They showed a little bit of ankle. That was, times have changed.
Mister Eyes Up Here.
Yeah. But
as I got older, third grade, fourth grade, I had a girlfriend. I'd go to her house, play kickball. That was it. That's all that happened,
Yeah.
I knew her liked her. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, that was us. I mean, I had a girlfriend in second grade, and I thought I was going to marry her, and I couldn't tell you what her name is now, but I'm not even sure I can remember my first ex-wife's name.
I can remember mine.
Yeah, come to think of it,
I can definitely remember mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been married over 41 years now, so I've got, after the first 2 failures, I've been successful the third time around.
Oh.
So.
Same here.
Called
I think
sobriety.
she's gonna keep me.
Lloyd.
Sobriety, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. My second wife was Coyote Ugly. I'm telling you, when I sobered up and saw that I'd married one of the ugliest women on the face of the earth, I'm going, oh my God. But I was drunk for about a year and a half. That's why we were married. And when I sobered up, it's like,
she was beautiful on the inside, right?
No. She wasn't much better than the first ex-wife was, come to find out, She was the village bike. But anyways, that's a different story. That's for a different show. We'll talk about that on my show tomorrow night.
Yep.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I'll be married to my third wife. It's been over 24 years. We'll be celebrating our 25th silver anniversary next June. So, and she is someone who was born in the Philippines and came to the United States, took the classes, paid the money,
right?
Became an American citizen. It's the only reason I have a signature from Bill Clinton in my house. Because it's on her naturalization.
Yeah.
She's got it in a frame, and it was, she did a lot of hard work and did it the right way and did it legally, and that's what we want to say, and especially Filipinos, because they fought and died in droves next to us in speaking of which, in World War II. God knows how many relatives she lost, in the Second World War, and they're very most of those people, most of them are very supportive of the United States, and which is pretty interesting considering we were kind of the invaders. You know what I mean? But Spain held the Philippines for 330 years, and only 1% of the population speaks Spanish.
Right. And
we went in there. Epstein, he's also married to a Filipino. So
somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, my uncle was at Bataan, Fall of Corregidor, and he was on the death march. So, and he served with a lot of the Filipinos marched right along with him on that, And
he survived it, huh? He's one of the ones that survived. I mean, how many died in that march?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. He survived it. He came out. He didn't do. He had a long time. He finally found recovery. Just the sad thing was he ends up dying in a house fire here in the United States. After all that, he goes through that. His wife dies of an aneurysm. He comes home, gets married. And starting to get his life together. He's left with 3 kids. And buries himself in the bottle again. Finally gets sober and then burns up in a house fire.
Wow.
You just never know. Right. Never get married again. I don't have enough money left to do it. The 50-50 split.
Well, that's what bothers me too. Is we're also all we're just privileged. Somehow I'm with my $20 an hour job. I'm somehow a privileged white guy. Who's succeeding because of my skin tone, and I'm a racist, and that it must be because I'm a conservative. I didn't marry my wife to prove I'm not a racist. By the way, I married her because I fell in love with her, and because she's 1,000% better human being than I am. I feel very lucky and blessed to have ever met this person, and but that's smearing of everybody, like we're the ones who are intolerant when the policies of the other side are made for, like, they're coddling.
Yeah, it's
coddling. I'm trying to think of a word not to insult anybody. Insufficient people. They can't make it on their own. They can't even get. I mean, that was one of the things we're supposedly making it impossible for people to vote because we're requiring them to be able to fucking identify themselves. That's the big requirement. Oh my God, you have to prove who you are. What a terrible person I am. Because
I thought that's what they were trying to do in Georgia, and then they found out they had record turnout.
Well, yeah, because Georgia, by the way, has a program that if you're low income, you can get your ID for free. So there's absolutely no reason to call this anything other than
same here in Oklahoma.
The ability to have free and fair elections on their side, on our side, because you have to prove who you are. That's ridiculous. Oh, and not everybody can make it down. I'm sorry, but most of the urban area can walk to their voting place, let alone drive in Atlanta and the major cities in Georgia or here in Florida or anywhere else for that matter. And if you absolutely have to do a mail-in ballot, you sign it and the signature is identified and the person's identified by either an ID number, picture ID number, or a driver's license number. What is so difficult about that? I tell you what, when they want to give you back your tax return check, they make sure as hell that they know who the hell you are.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Or get an airplane ticket too.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to have a photo ID to fly. You know, it's like, you know, even if, you know, I have trouble walking long distances and, but my voting precinct is just a half a block away. Well, it's actually just the next street down. I get on my scooter and zip down there. If I couldn't drive a car, I could get on my electric wheelchair and zip down there and still be able to vote.
Mine's about a mile and a half from my house. You know what I mean? But if I didn't drive, I could get there. You know, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you ride share or ride a bike, or if you can't do that, like you said, some type of electric.
Yeah.
You know, or you just call an Uber, something.
Yeah.
If you consider it, you consider it serious enough to do it, then do it. But there's still programs for those who are infirm that can't get out of the house.
Yeah,
you know?
That's right. Yeah, this idea that they're disenfranchising voters, that we're doing it. You know, they're trying to make it. They're doing their damnedest to try and make it so that our vote doesn't count by flooding it with all these votes that shouldn't count. You know,
I like this. It's backfiring on them. They're allowing the southern border to be wide open, forgetting that the majority of people from Central and South America are Christian and conservative and believe in family values. And
yeah.
They're actually as a percentage losing the Spanish vote. Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And I mean, I'm trying to figure out who's next because they started losing the black vote, so they went after the Hispanic vote. Now they're kind of losing it. Who's next? Maybe they'll go after the white vote.
Yeah. Ooh.
There's an idea.
No, they got that soda.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've done a little over an hour, so
yeah, we have.
Boy, this show just flew by. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming, and it looked like we had a good crowd. I think we got up to 13, 14 people. That's not like bad. I think next week we'll just keep on building, and we're only 5 away from 200 subs. So, Bill, I want to thank you for coming on and being part of the show. Lloyd, always great having you. And so,
appreciate you being.
Everybody have a great weekend. God bless you. Oh, next weekend is Labor Day weekend.
It is, yeah.
Take care and God bless.
Socialism Day.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.